Today I've got something very special for you guys, which is this XPENG G9. And you're probably thinking, Toby, we've seen an XPENG G9 before, they've been out for ages. Well, not this one, because this one right here is a 2025 all-new XPENG G9. So that's right, today we're going to take an exclusive first look at this XPENG G9 to see what changes XPENG have made to make it even better. Now let's get into it. Welcome back to EV.com. Well, for those of you that are here for the first time, don't forget to give us a subscribe for more great EV content. So today we're going to be focusing on the updates to the G9. But if you want to know more about the updates to both the G6 and the G9, we have done a brief video overview if you follow the link above. So the XPENG G9 has actually been on the market for less than 3 years now, but XPENG still thought, I wonder how we can make it better. And I think they have been listening to customer feedback, customer complaints, to see what adjustments they can make for an even more impressive package. So let's start with the exterior look of the new G9. And this is going to be a quick look because nothing has actually changed on the outside of the G9. It's still a good looking mid-size SUV, wheelbase just over 3 meters, dimension-wise slightly bigger than a Zeekr 7X. That's kind of what you expect a mid-size electric SUV to look like, although this new edition comes with a new exterior paint color option, which is the Black Warrior edition, which is blacked out everything, blacked out rims, blacked out fender, blacked out logos. It looks very, very nice. Unfortunately, we didn't get it today, but we'll use the power of B-roll to show you what that car looks like. Oh, there is one key difference to the exterior of the XPENG G9 as well as the XPENG G6, which is they have added a blue light to the wing mirror, which will turn on when you're using its XNGP. This small change, although subtle, shows how XPENG is going further into this autonomous driving kind of driver assist features with its XNGP. And it is going the way of a vision-based system. So the LiDAR units have actually been removed from this G9. But that is not a vision only, that is a vision-based system. There are actually 26 sensors throughout the outside of this car. So in terms of the self-driving system, you know, we have the XNGP, which is potentially end-to-end, and it's definitely a product of China in that it is quite aggressive in the way it drives. If you want to see a full review of the XNGP, click the link above. I don't want to have an argument about LiDAR being better than a vision-based autonomous driving system, but the point is that removing LiDAR from the system has allowed XPENG to sell this car for almost 6% cheaper than the previous version. That's impressive. But, and it's a big but, XPENG have actually added a lot to this car to give even more value for customers. For example, in the previous version of the G9, you would have to pay for the highest trim in order to get its dual chamber air suspension. Now, every version of the G9 comes with this. So it doesn't matter what spec you choose, doesn't matter what price you choose, every version of the G9 will come with dual chamber air suspension. In fact, the XPENG G9 is one of the cheapest EVs in the world to offer this. So perhaps one of the most significant upgrades to come with the new 2025 G9 is in the battery department. And XPENG were always pretty strong in this department. 800 volt architecture, 3C charging, great charging times. But now they've upgraded from 3C to 5C. So instead of 20 minutes from 10 to 80%, this one can go from 10 to 80% in just 12 minutes. So those charging speeds were never slow, but now they are even faster. So inside the interior of the new G9, and I have to say I'm a fan of XPENG's interiors. I think they do the minimalist thing very well. And here is no exception. We have no actual buttons. Everything is done via touch controls or using the controls on the wheel. We have a stalk for our gear changing. We have two 50-watt wireless charging pads, which are cooled. We have our 10.25-inch driver's cluster here for our key information, and then here we have two 15-inch infotainment system. So these are actually two different screens. Here is for the central vehicle controls, and this is more of an entertainment system for the passenger. The G9 has an incredible sound system, which is this X Opera 2.0 with 20 speakers to give a Dolby 7.1.4 surround sound. And you may also get a Queen's chair here in the front, meaning this G9 could be a great place for just relaxing, watching a movie or your favorite TV show, or just for chilling out. And it kind of reflects these EVs' desire to be more than just a mode of transportation. They want to be a media center. They want to be a living room on wheels. They want to be a place where you can come and chill out on your lunch break. A place where you can watch a movie with, your air conditioning on, grab a massage, a kind of multi-function entertainment space. While I do like XPENG's interiors, I have to say one thing, which is sometimes, or rather in some places, they do use hard plastics, and it'd probably be a little bit more. And for example, here around the dashboard, the door handle is a little bit cheap feeling. While we do have some of this micro suede material up here, we have some soft touch material almost everywhere. I do feel like it's let down a little bit by these hard plastics because they do look and feel very cheap. So one thing I have noticed about this G9, or the new version of the G9, is that they didn't give it a digital rear view mirror, which I think is a little bit weird because they did upgrade the new G6 with a digital rear view display. And admittedly, the rear view of the G6 is absolutely terrible. So that digital rear view mirror is 100% necessary. But I feel like they could have just thrown it into this one. I mean, the rear view is fine. Could it be better with the digital display? Yes, sure it could be. What do you think of the interior of the G9? Make sure you leave your comments below. So let's talk about the G9 second row very quickly. So first, space. Legroom, great. My driver's seat is in my position. Headroom, loads of space here. I actually have a good 6 or 7 fingers here. Although this panoramic sunroof does not have a blind, which is something to consider if you're in one of the warmer countries. The two left and right seats come with ventilation and heating, as well as the option of a massage function, which is probably a little bit much, but maybe you have a better relationship with the people who usually sit in your second row. We do also have the ability to adjust the angle of our seat slightly, although not a huge amount. Also, as I mentioned before, this is a 60-40 split, so these two will be adjusted at the same time. Here, not really much to talk about. We have a little storage unit here, no plugs whatsoever, and then we have our cup holders, so pretty simple there. So let's have a look in the trunk of the G9. So actually no changes here. It was already big enough apparently. So 745 liters standard trunk space, which expands to 1,795 if you put the second row seats down flat, which can be done here with these two buttons. It's not electric, it just releases a latch and lets them fall down. So to put them back, you'll have to do that yourself, and they are quite heavy. But is there a frunk? Well, yes, it does, and not a small one at that. 71 liters in here, which is a good amount of space for you to throw some bags, some cables, whatever you like. One of the complaints people had about the XPENG G6 was that it never had a frunk, including in the new edition, but this one doesn't have that problem. So what is the driving experience like in the new G9? Well, I'd say it's probably more or less exactly the same as the old G9, but perhaps with a little more comfort. Now, I don't know if comfort was a big complaint in the previous generation of this vehicle, but the comfort in this version is absolutely fine. I would say that driving wise, in terms of the dynamics and engaging the driver, the G9 drives perhaps a little bit better than the G6, and with that extra added comfort of the dual chamber suspension. But something which I found, which I will go into more depth with in our comparison video with the Zeekr 7X, is that if we're taking this 7X and the G9 is more geared towards comfort and towards tech and towards convenience, and I would say it doesn't really match the driving experience in terms of dynamics, in terms of engagement of the Zeekr 7X. The Zeekr 7X really is a car which kind of pulls you into wanting to drive it very enjoyably. And this G9, I mean, either way, you could drive it fast, you could drive it slow, but you don't really feel like it's really kind of motivating you to be ambitious in the way you drive, I suppose. The top trim, kind of like the all-wheel drive version of this car, comes with up to 423 kilowatts of power and 695 Newton meters of torque, which will take this from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 4.2 seconds. The rear-wheel drive version is probably a couple seconds slower than this, but for me, that is perfectly fine. Let's get some range stats on the screen now so you can have an idea of what kind of range each of these editions will give. And these are CLTC, so are to be taken with a huge pinch of salt. As usual, I will always go for the rear-wheel drive version. I always like to favor efficiency, and with the dual chamber air suspension, you get an incredible ride comfort for both driver and passengers. XPENG quotes a comprehensive energy consumption of 13.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which isn't bad, but actually today I've been driving this car just around the city, and over the last 20 kilometers, I've actually got this down to 13.6. I drove this car around 200 miles yesterday. And if I go into the settings and just see how efficient we've been over those 200 miles, so over the nearest 100 kilometers, my efficiency is 15.9, which isn't great, but I would say that if you're just driving around town, you know, going to the shops, I think you could get something much better than this. You could definitely aim for between 13 and 14 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So what do you think of the updates to the XPENG G9? Make sure you leave your comments below. Have they managed to make a great SUV even better? The bad news, overseas markets probably won't be receiving this 2025 version, at least not just yet. In the China market, the XPENG G9 sells for under 250,000 yuan. Regardless, the previous version of the XPENG G9 is still a very good car, and you should consider it. Oh, one more thing, we will be bringing out a comparison video comparing this to the Zeekr 7X, so two of China's most popular mid-size SUVs going head to head. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.